The rain was coming down in sheets as I drove home, each drop a tiny echo of the storm brewing inside me. My name is Barnaby, and until a few weeks ago I thought I had it all. A comfortable life in Seattle, a beautiful home overlooking Puget Sound, and a wife, Rosalie, who I adored. I'm 46, and I work as a software architect, a job that's demanding but rewarding. Rosalie, on the other hand, was a freelance graphic designer, a creative soul who brought color and vibrancy into my otherwise structured world. We'd been married for 15 years, a milestone we celebrated with a trip to Italy, or so I thought. Looking back, there were signs, subtle shifts in Rosalie's behavior that I'd brushed aside, attributing them to stress or a creative block. She'd been working late more often, attending networking events that stretched into the early hours. Our conversations had become superficial, polite exchanges rather than the deep, intimate talks we used to share. The first crack in our perfect facade appeared innocently enough. Rosalie had left her laptop open on the kitchen counter, something she rarely did. I was making coffee, half listening to a podcast, when a notification popped up on her screen. It was an email from someone named Leopold, and the subject line read, "Last night was incredible." My heart skipped a beat. Leopold. Who the hell was Leopold? I told myself not to jump to conclusions. It could be a work thing, a collaboration gone well. But the knot in my stomach tightened with each passing second. Curiosity, or perhaps a morbid sense of self-preservation, got the better of me. I clicked on the email, the words blurred before my eyes. It was a detailed, explicit account of a rendezvous, a clandestine meeting filled with passion and intimacy. My breath hitched in my throat. This wasn't a work thing. This was an affair. I closed the laptop, my hands shaking. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. I felt a cold, hollow ache in my chest, a pain so profound it stole the air from my lungs. How could she? Rosalie, the woman I'd built my life with, the woman I trusted implicitly, had betrayed me in the most devastating way imaginable. I spent the next few days in a daze, replaying the email in my mind, searching for answers, for some kind of explanation. I couldn't bring myself to confront Rosalie directly. I needed to gather my thoughts, to process the tsunami of emotions that threatened to drown me. I started digging discreetly, carefully. I checked her phone records, her credit card statements, her social media accounts. The evidence mounted, each piece of information a dagger twisting in my heart. Leopold was a local architect, a man she'd met at one of those networking events. They'd been seeing each other for months, carrying on their affair under my very nose. The anger started to simmer, a slow, burning rage that threatened to consume me. I wanted to scream, to lash out, to destroy everything in my path, but I knew that wouldn't solve anything. I needed to be strategic, to think clearly, to plan my next move. Finally, I decided to confront her. I waited for her to come home from work, my heart pounding in my chest. When she walked through the door, her face lit up with a smile. "Hey, honey, how was your day?" she asked, oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. "We need to talk," I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. Rosalie's smile faded. "What's wrong? I know about Leopold," I said, watching her reaction. Her eyes widened and her face paled. The color drained from her cheeks, leaving her looking gaunt and vulnerable. "Barnaby," she stammered, searching for words. "Don't," I interrupted. "Don't insult my intelligence with lies. I've read the emails, I've seen the phone records. I know everything." Tears welled up in her eyes. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. It just happened," I repeated, my voice rising. "You betrayed me, Rosalie. You shattered our marriage, our life together. And you tell me it just happened." She started to cry, pleading for forgiveness. "I made a mistake," she sobbed. "Please, Barnaby, give me another chance. I still love you." But the words rang hollow. The trust was gone, shattered beyond repair. I couldn't forgive her, not after what she'd done. "It's over, Rosalie," I said, my voice cold and resolute. "I want you to leave." She begged me to reconsider, promising to end the affair, to do whatever it took to win me back. But my mind was made up. I couldn't stay with someone who had so callously betrayed me. The next few weeks were a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and moving boxes. Rosalie moved out, taking with her a piece of my heart. The house felt empty, hollow, a shell of its former self. I spent my days at work, burying myself in code, trying to distract myself from the pain. At night, I sat alone in the silence, haunted by memories of what we'd once had. I should have been relieved when the divorce was finalized, but instead I felt a profound sense of loss. 15 years of my life gone. A future I'd envisioned vanished. I was alone, adrift in a sea of uncertainty. Then, a few months later, I received an unexpected phone call. It was from a woman named Myril. "I'm Leopold's wife," she said, her voice trembling. "I need to talk to you. We met at a coffee shop downtown." Myril was a petite woman with sad eyes and a weary smile. She told me that she'd suspected Leopold of having an affair for months, but she hadn't been able to prove it. When she finally confronted him, he denied everything. "I found your number in his phone," she said. "I know about Rosalie. I know what he did to you. We spent hours talking, sharing our stories of betrayal and heartbreak. We discovered that Leopold had a history of infidelity, a pattern of cheating and deceit that he'd repeated throughout his life. Myril and I became friends, supporting each other through the difficult process of healing. We bonded over our shared experience, finding solace in each other's company. One day, Myril came to me with a proposition. "I want to expose Leopold," she said. "I want everyone to know what he's done." At first, I hesitated. I didn't want to dredge up the past, to relive the pain and humiliation. But then I thought about Rosalie, about how she'd betrayed me, about how Leopold had enabled her. I realized that I couldn't let them get away with it. Together, Myril and I gathered evidence, documenting Leopold's affairs, his lies, his deceit. We compiled a dossier of information, including emails, text messages, and photographs. Then we took our story to the press. We contacted a local newspaper, providing them with all the evidence we'd collected. The newspaper ran a front-page story exposing Leopold's infidelity and his pattern of cheating. The fallout was immediate and devastating. Leopold was fired from his job, his reputation ruined. His friends and colleagues shunned him. He became a pariah in the architectural community. Rosalie, too, faced the consequences of her actions. Her reputation as a graphic designer was tarnished, and she struggled to find work. She lost friends and alienated her family. I watched it all unfold with a sense of grim satisfaction. I wasn't proud of seeking revenge, but I couldn't deny the sense of justice I felt. They had hurt me, and they deserved to pay the price. But as the dust settled, I realized that revenge wasn't the answer. It didn't heal my wounds. It didn't bring back my lost years. It only left me feeling empty and hollow. I started to focus on myself, on rebuilding my life. I took up new hobbies, reconnected with old friends, and started traveling. I slowly began to heal, to move on from the pain and betrayal. One day, I received a letter from Rosalie. She apologized for what she'd done, expressing remorse for her actions. She admitted that she'd made a terrible mistake, and she begged for my forgiveness. I didn't respond to her letter. I wasn't ready to forgive her, not yet. But I realized that I no longer harbored any anger or resentment towards her. I had moved on, and she was no longer a part of my life. Years have passed since then. I've found love again with someone who values honesty and loyalty. I've learned that betrayal can be a devastating experience, but it doesn't have to define you. You can survive it, you can heal, and you can find happiness again. The rain has stopped now, and the sun is shining through the clouds. I look out at the Puget Sound, the water shimmering in the light. Life goes on even after the storm, and sometimes after the darkest of nights, the sun does rise again.